Well, good day, everybody. Good to be back again. It's surprising how quick a month can go when there's lots going on. We're happy to be here, and there's been a lot happening in the last month. Basically, I can tell you, three large swans, two Swan 65s and a Swan 651, have been purchased just in the last month, quite literally. And the application situation for entries has changed a lot now in terms of where we are in the various classes. So just a quick update. In adventure class, as you know, we did have 10 going into the pandemic. We actually lost a total of 3. Their situation changed and they've made it very clear they can't continue. So we cut back to 7 and we dropped the total number in adventure class back to 8. So there's 1 spot left, and it looks like that may be going in the next 24, 48 hours, but we'll wait and see. Then we had a big run on Sayula class. So Sayula class we've allocated now up to a maximum of 10, okay, because the demand is there basically. So one of our entrants, Lionel Regnier, who was in our Sayula class, has now rolled over to the Flyer class, which gave us another spot. But then we've since received some more entries. So at the moment, as it stands today, there is only 1 entry left in Sayula class. So that's kind of cool. And we picked up some more entries in Flyer class. So it looks like there's only going to be probably 2 spaces left in Flyer class at the moment. Classic Challenge, we're talking to lots. We've got a reserve on 4 spots, but we'll wait and see. So for those that are thinking, oh, jeepers, still want to enter, and bearing in mind we haven't been pushing the publicity on the race, we sort of made a decision we'd hold off on this year because of the pandemic, but it's about to come back online. And I'm sure there'll be a lot more people. We will be running a wait list. And there's 2 things that gives you the chance to get on with a wait list. One is if one of the existing entrants, one of the paid up entrants decides to retire, there's a spot left. First on the wait list takes that. And secondly, in September next year, we open up all classes. So if the Classic Challenge hasn't filled up by then, the Classic Challenge might have 3 or 4 entrants. We open them all up and we set to a limit of the entrants at 34 for the entire event. So that might give some more opportunities then to get into adventure class or Sayula or Flyer or whatever if Flyer fills up. So that's all good. Anyway, in the meantime, we've got Glenn here from Scotland. We were just talking about flags. Here he comes, 1, 2. G'day, Glenn. How are you?
Hi, Don. I'm good. How you doing?
Not too bad, not too bad. I was just
Man.
saying you must have the sun behind you. There's a very British or Scottish backdrop you've got there. It looks like silk curtain.
Yeah, that nice little set of curtains to hide the beer store behind me. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, you're our only Scottish entry, right? You're one of the early ones. We've been chatting quite a bit at Boot, and last month when we just did an intro. But where are you now, and what got you into sailing?
Well, where are we now is our campaign starts today. Don, you'll recall the announcement with the press at Boot in Dusseldorf back in January, where
Yes.
we had intended to release the event, start our campaign in March. Obviously, a certain little bug put paid to that. So we're actually making October our start of our campaign. So over the next number of weeks, the website will start to fill up with the relevant pieces of information that people want to know, people are asking for. And we've already got some of our voyages up and running and ready to roll for next year. That will form some of the
Yep.
training voyages for OGR. So really, this is the start point. Today's the point at which we start pushing everything out, and we start saying to folk, right, if you're interested, if you're thinking about it, now's the time to get in touch. Let's have a chat and let's start the ball rolling.
Yeah, okay. So that's on a roll, but let's just step back because we want to learn about you first and how you got to this point. So what was the story for your sailing career? Where did it start? Your parents get into it, whatever? How did it begin?
Yeah, probably started a few generations ago with family members that were involved in naval vessels and things like that. When I was a very, very small child, you can see me there with my mother.
So this is you in the little suit,
That's me in
the life jackets.
the little life jacket that clearly didn't receive any cleaning in
Hang on, I
between
can see you
charters.
still look the same.
Yeah, youthful, Don. That's it. So no, that was basically just a trip on a loch in Northern Ireland.
Yeah.
And that was just, I think, a few weeks, a couple of months old at the most. So that was my first experience of being on the water, if you like. That then continued throughout my life, mainly with in the younger days canoeing or rowing in little
Yeah.
inflatables. And before anybody shouts, there is a rope firmly attached to the starboard side of that inflatable, leading to my mother's hand on the shore.
Okay.
So no chance of
So you
getting
didn't head over to Ireland or something,
no, that was up the north coast of Northern Ireland actually. We used to go there every year, and we used to get
Yeah.
practice in the dinghy, and we used to use canoes and stuff like that as well. I
Yeah.
also did some sailing in the usual toppers and stuff like that. Did some windsurfing, mainly annually at outdoor camps and clubs and scouts and things like that,
All the
which
usual
was
stuff.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was never I'm going for an Olympics or I'm training up to be an Olympic sailor or anything like that. It was just an enjoyment of being out in the water and having that challenge. And then as an
Yeah.
adult, I decided to do my training for qualification out in the Med. And that's what
Yeah.
the last picture is in there. That's one of the first boats I sailed out
So
with in the
what?
Med.
Okay. So you got into sailing. What did you do for a job? What was your career path?
Um, my career, which is quite useful at the moment, is in helping people with remote access solutions. So home workers working from home when they can't get into the office and things like that. So
Yeah. But
it's
how did
rather
you? But
handy.
like, take it right back to the beginning. What was the first
Mm.
job? Like, where did you? How did you get to that point?
My first job was working with a company that analysed wastewater and how we could clean it up.
Right.
I started off with basically working through environmental protection, how to clean up the planet, how to work with our resources that we've got, everything from wind
Okay.
energy to cleaning up wastewater, to working out why you shouldn't build in a certain part of the country, for example.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but at the time when I did that, the IT industry was booming, which was something that I messed about with as a child, with an old BBC microcomputer. So we used to write programs and stuff like that for the computer in the house with my
Yeah.
father. And basically, to be able to finance the idea to go sailing and become a qualified skipper, I needed a job that wasn't sailing,
Yeah.
and that meant moving back into IT, and that's where I've been ever since.
A vicious circle. Yeah. So what
Mm.
did you besides sailing when you're back into IT and earning money? What did you do for fun?
Sailing.
Sailing. It's like that. So it
Um,
was just
yeah,
sailing, and
I love the outdoors, Don. I'm very lucky to live in Scotland now. I have done
yeah.
for 25 odd years. And we have a fantastic playground here.
Yeah.
It's an all year round playground. And I live on the west coast of Scotland.
Yeah.
And you can be up the mountains, you can be in the snow, you can be ice climbing, you can be skiing, you can be cross
Yeah.
country skiing over the winter.
Okay.
You can move that into the summer, and you can do all the usual on water activity.
Yeah. So okay. So you've now got this amazing program. Before we get to that, you obviously got your skipper certificate, started doing charter work or something, and then you did. How did you evolve into the idea of getting something happening in Scotland? Like for you.
Well, it was an amazing. I don't want to use the word coincidence, but it was an amazing story. I was at the Glasgow River Festival a lot of years ago, 2006, I think it was, and there was a boat on display. There was two boats on display actually, alongside the riverfront in Glasgow and the River Clyde. One of them was what you would call a pirate ship, huge big thing that did look like a traditional pirate ship, and
Yeah.
the other one was a 60-foot yacht
Yeah.
that had been around the world 4 times. And it amazed me to see this boat. The size and scale of everything on it was pretty incredible.
Yeah.
So they had a website on the side. So I made the silly mistake of going online and looking at the website. They had a volunteer program. So I signed up, effectively started as bilge boy, getting
Yeah.
all the rotten jobs. That boat, which was called Clyde Challenger, they did a lot of youth work,
Yeah.
very little adult work. So I spent a lot of time going out in youth trips, and very little time actually in the company of adults that were doing big sails, ocean passages, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which I thought brilliant program, fantastic, and there's lots of them about. But it meant that the ability to use the vessel was very limited.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
she wasn't being used by the people who across the broad spectrum. So when the financial crisis hit, we were in a position to take ownership of that boat,
Yeah.
and we
Okay. So that's
returned her to Ocean
Taiping.
Sailing. No, that was
Yeah.
Clyde Challenger, one of Taiping's sister ships.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's how we started off, which was originally called Chrysolite. So we had Chrysolite for a while. We restored her to Ocean Sailing, and then from there we've ended up with one of her sister ships, which was the first ever clipper hull that was laid down in
Yeah.
Essex here in England,
Yeah. I
which is
remember
the
the boats.
Taiping that you can see in the picture there.
They're very good boats. We thought about buying one once ourselves. That was
Yeah, they are.
quite
They're
cool.
extremely forgiving.
Yeah.
So we got Taiping in 2017. The purpose again was to repeat the process, get her back
Okay.
into ocean racing.
So okay. So you've got Taiping now, and you've got a program. When did the idea of the Ocean Globe hit home? How did that evolve? What brought you to that conclusion?
What was the first day you announced it, Don? Remind
Okay.
me.
What was the trigger of getting into the Ocean Globe? What made you make the decision to say this is perfect and let's do it?
It really was quite simple. These boats were built to go around the world and sail on the oceans, and that's what we should be doing with them. Taiping's done it 4 times, but she's never done it via the Three Capes. She's
Yeah.
also the first of her type ever built, so it seemed the only really logical progression was the boat gets returned to ocean sailing for everybody and anybody, the same as what
Yeah.
the original clippers were designed for. And this time, when we send her around the world, which will, from my perspective, we don't intend sending her around the world regularly. This
Yes.
is, in our planning, this is a one-off. This is to celebrate the 50 years of Whitbread, and this is to send a clipper boat round the world via the Three Capes this time, because they
Yeah.
normally don't go around all Three Capes.
Okay. So, and you're going to have crew coming on board. They're select crew, right? So, someone in other parts of the world, if they wanted to join you, that's not really in the game plan. Is that right?
No, it's open to anybody in the whole world.
Yeah. Okay.
We will be running a recruitment process. Our key is, Don, that we want to have a team to go around the world. And we
Yeah.
know there's plenty of people will bite our arm off twice to take a ticket for a Southern Ocean leg.
Yeah.
But we want to try and avoid as much as we can having a team that you lose a quarter of them at one port and then you get some more join. We want to try and build a team that goes the whole way around, because
Yeah.
that's their passion and that's their dream, effectively, to do the full
Yeah.
circumnavigation.
It's a big one. There'll be a lot of trippers. Like we've got, as you know, we've got a lot of crew, but there's a shortage of boats because a lot of the entrants have got their own friends and family and mates and
Yeah.
stuff. But there's a few that are opening up, and there's a huge amount of people want to go. But you're right, to go all the way is much more of an achievement, more of a dream.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
it'll be
so
a 3-year process for us, because some people will come up with us, and everybody who wants to sign up will have to have undertaken a trip that includes a passage that indicates whether they would feel they can do this themselves. Not don't need to be on board for 3 weeks, but have a few days offshore with us and see how you feel. It might
yeah,
not
yeah,
be
yeah,
for you.
yeah, exactly. You got to settle
Um,
them in. We've
yeah.
got a few people. Got a few people here. Andrew Pindar's here as well. He's in sunny autumn day in Scarborough, so that's cool. G'day, Andrew. And
Oh yeah.
TV Lassars, miss where you're from. I know that from Scotland. So that's cool. Jane's already answered it. Jane's in the background in Adelaide. I've got Ada here helping me as well. And Bear Burtz is here, the comic man. G'day, Bear. And if anyone's got any questions, you can pop them in there. So okay, so what's your biggest challenge, do you think, to get to the start line? Like what's the drama? Is it usual finance, or just trying to get the program sorted, or what? I think you sound
Um,
pretty organised.
I think the biggest challenge is going to be taking a boat that obviously is commercial, that has to meet all the relevant standards and safety and stuff like that, and actually
Yeah.
convincing the
You're currently
certification
coded.
authority.
What's the current coding you have for Scotland?
Yeah, so it's just MCA UK coding. So she's categorized category 0, which is
Yeah.
ocean unrestricted. But
Yeah.
of course, that's the ultimate thing that you have to meet. Now, we normally go beyond those the levels of coding that we're required to go with.
Yes.
But when you obviously want to run a race that is retro 1973, whilst we won't have a problem changing the CD-ROM player for a tape player, we may have a problem getting, some of our favorite songs transferred onto tape, but we're working on that. I think the biggest challenge is going to be getting sign off from a legal perspective of the coding authorities to say that when we're sailing, we will be meeting this aspect of a race rule that potentially conflicts or contravenes
Yeah.
what would
Okay. Well,
normally be expected. I don't see it as being impossible. Just I think that's going to be our longest challenge.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, it's a good point to bring up because I've mentioned it a few times, but it's good to reinforce it. What happens in that situation? Coded vessels override the race rules. In other words, we still want you to go around, and you'll obviously have to have, you probably might even have to have radar and all that sort of stuff. That's fine because what happens is you have it on the boat. With radar, and you use it if you have to, but if you don't have to, it's the spirit of the rule of the race, right?
Yeah.
And certainly, as you know, everyone that's involved in the race has all the RAS man overboard buttons, GPS chart plotter with an alarm door that two people, the MOB men on board, can look and check at any time. So there's a way around it. So the priority is to make sure we meet the requirement for any coded vessel, and we take second fiddle, but it'll still work within the race and it won't affect performance, So, so that side of it for us is pretty simple.
So what you want me to do then is get the MCA to dictate that we must have iPod connectivity on the boat then?
Yeah, it's fine detail for later. And certainly, as you know, it's the pre-notice of race at the moment. The actual notice of race should be happening in December now, and then we're still open to suggestion, and because there's issues, especially with boats like yourself, and you're not alone. We'll end up with, even in Sayula class and a couple others, there's going to be there's coded vessels, and so we're mindful of that. But we'll get around. It's not a problem. Hey, we haven't been laughing much, so I'm going to go through the usual deal here and try and get some fun and frivolity into it. We've got to let them know you're human. Aida's laughing just here. Anyway, she's a Romanian French woman that's never been to Scotland and doesn't understand the Scottish accent, let alone the humour. Anyway. So first, word association, right? I'm going to throw some words at you and you just tell me what it's all about. But before we do, are you going to be skipper on the boat all the way around?
I would doubt that very much. The experience has taught me that you need a really detailed, knowledgeable person about the vessel to be back at base. Somebody who can manage the logistics of trying to get repairs organised and stuff like that. So it's early days yet, Don, but we're certainly looking to put a team together from scratch as opposed to a team that joins me as a skipper. But I'll still be able to do the skippering, and we'll be on standby in case needs to.
Okay, well that's fine, because if you embarrass yourself deeply on these questions and things that I'm about to do, it won't upset your crew. That was the main idea there,
Method in my madness.
All right, so here we go. Dreams.
Oh, just a wide open ocean with the most amazing sunset you've seen, and my family and friends around me in the cockpit.
Okay, money.
It's a minus sign since I was old enough to remember.
Fear.
Needs to be controlled.
Adventure.
Should be for absolutely everybody.
Cape Horn.
Might have to put myself on as the media man for that leg of the trip.
Time.
Never enough.
Speed.
Never enough.
Sleep.
Never enough.
Knife.
Essential piece of kit.
Panic.
Needs to be controlled.
Father.
Inspiration.
Holidays.
Never enough.
Mother.
Inspiration.
Cold.
I live in Scotland.
Impossible.
No.
Overboard.
Please no.
Sponsors.
Please yes.
Luck.
We hope we have lots of it.
Life.
Long and prosperous, hopefully.
Inspiration.
Inspiration, probably any major adventurer that has done something. The first person to climb Everest, the first person to sail around the world unaided.
Yeah,
Lots
cool.
of them.
Okay, well, you passed that. We still didn't laugh much, but that's fine. You got to get through these questions now. So pick a number between 1 to 10.
Number 3.
Number 3. What small things make you happy?
Oh, my 2 children.
Your 3 children. How old are the kids?
My 2 children. They're 4 and 5.
4 and 5.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. All right. Next one. 10 to 20.
15.
15. What do you think is a waste of money?
Oh man.
I thought you'd say sailing.
No, no. Unnecessary greed.
Unnecessary greed. Okay. Yep, that's fine. 20 to 30.
21.
21. Who inspires you the most and why?
The person that probably inspires me the most was probably my grandfather, because he was very much an engineer, and I take a lot of inspiration from that kind of person who actually can work at things, who can fix things, and who can make things happen.
Yeah, what did he do? What was his trade?
He was a metal worker, so
A
he would
metal worker.
make things out of, he'd weld things. He would,
Yeah, cool. Okay, where do we go? 30 to 40.
33.
36?
33.
33. Did your parents do a good job raising you?
Absolutely, I'm still here.
Absolutely. Except they corrupted you as sailing. Okay, 40 to 47.
46.
46. Are you a leader or a follower, and why?
Oh, I'm absolutely, definitely a leader. And why? Because I'm too much of a perfectionist.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair enough.
My biggest
All right, now
curse.
this one should be really obscure. Pick a letter between A and N.
E for echo.
E for echo. If oh boy, if given an elephant, if you can't give it away or sell it, what would you do with it?
I'd swap it.
Stop it.
I
Okay.
ideally for a nice ocean snatch block.
Yeah, okay. That's legitimate under the terms of the question, so I'll take that. That's fine. Okay, so about now, normally I would bring in Sebastian, he's another one of our adventure class entrants. He's got a Swan 51, a Finnish entrant, but he hasn't shown up. So we would normally introduce him ready to come in next month, but he's not there. So that's cool. I'm just going to check out for questions. Any questions? From Eddie, Stephen Eddie. Okay, Stephen Eddie wants to know if your campaign, your project, is going to be linked to the environment in some ways, or is it just to clarify your crew and the kids and things like that, like how that all works?
Yeah, no, it's a fantastic question, and to be honest, Don, it's a fantastic opportunity. We, as a business, which is how the boat runs, we try and be as carbon neutral, as energy neutral, and as waste efficient as we possibly can be in everything we do. Now, these decisions that we make every year include how we purchase the supplies for people who come on the boat, how we work with the batteries for the torches, right through to how we want to work with them, how much fuel we use, how much fuel do we need, and how we manage the places that we go to. So I'm a massive believer of leaving everywhere you go a little bit better than when you arrived.
Yeah.
There's a lot of campaigns at the minute which say leave only footprints and stuff like that. So I believe if everybody who was passionate about the outdoors of any nature, just picked up one piece of litter they saw when they went out for a walk along the beach, we wouldn't have a lot of these problems we have with big ocean garbage patches and with waste. We would be
Yeah.
much better off in those terms. So our campaign will be heavily focused on the environment. We do intend to go around, let's call it net zero, or as close to
Yeah.
net zero as we can, and that comes in every aspect of the trip, even from generators, water makers, main engine fuel,
So how are you gonna manage that, by carbon credits or something, or what?
We're actually going to plant trees.
Gonna plant
So
trees, yeah.
yeah, some of the there's a lot of carbon credit stuff out there, and we've looked at that a lot over the last few years, and a lot of it is subject to massive levels of scamming. So a little project my
Yeah,
father started years
I'll
ago
agree
was
with that.
he used to plant a tree.
Yeah.
Every year he would plant a few different trees just on routes that he used to walk, and you can still go on those routes today, and he can point out
Yeah.
to you one or two of the trees that he planted when I was in the buggy as a baby. So we're going to look at doing that. Whether or not we plant trees ourselves as part of some exercises and potentially team building, or whether we engage with local charities in each region we go
Yeah.
to provide them with some funds that allow them to go and plant some trees to do the carbon offsetting. But we plan to take it further than that and looking at other things like our waste and stuff. So
Okay.
wind turbines on
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
road and all that stuff.
Okay, so yeah, we with the Golden Globe race in 18, we instituted a waste management plan for all the boats. They had to analyze the whole bit and da 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 da. This time around in 22, we haven't announced it publicly yet, but we're mixing the angles here. We just put a penalty, a 2-hour time penalty for every litre of fuel that they use.
Right.
It's a 2-hour time penalty to the finish of their race, right, for every litre. Which I'm quite excited about. It's quite good. The entrants have taken it really well. They get 25 litres free, so they can run their engine, once a week going around and get to the start and things like that. And I honestly thought about the OGR, but I thought it's impossible because we've got a fully crewed boat with, lots of power demands and this, that, and the other. But it's quite interesting. I honestly didn't think of an angle to look at carbon credits and things like that. Maybe it's a discussion we should have and encourage it. But I don't want to put any demands on entrants because it's such a huge commitment to do this race anyway, and a major financial hit. But it might be something worth encouraging. Start a conversation. That's quite a cool idea. I didn't even think of it. Know how it works, but you didn't think of saying, okay, well, that's another angle that you can use.
It is. I mean,
So,
for us,
yeah.
the ability to go out even to a local garden centre in Scotland and to buy effectively what would be a few hundred trees, take them out somewhere on the hillside and
Yeah,
plant
yeah.
them ourselves,
Yeah.
that's still going to benefit the environment. So there's things you can do, and that's what we focus on. Every individual can do something. We don't need to wait for a government to do it. We don't need to wait for a big company to come up with an idea.
Yeah, exactly.
Every individual can do something themselves.
Yeah. Okay, we've got a question here from Mark Rickle. Did you have any sponsors lined up before committing to the race?
Absolutely not. Nope.
Yeah.
There was no question about it. For us, we're going to do the race. We've had sponsors that have worked with us for a number of years, and they've provided us with various things in return for branding, marketing, and advertising. Those sponsors' terms will effectively finish at the end of this coming season.
Yeah.
And we'll then start a 3-year sponsor program, which will effectively begin in 2021.
Yeah.
And that will be a 3-year program for sponsors. So anybody who's an existing sponsor will have to sign up to that for the period of time.
Yeah. We've got some powerful things happening at the moment. It's quite interesting. I'll mention it because it's across the board for all our events. We think we're better off post-pandemic than everyone else. What's happening is all of a sudden, some of the discussions we're having, people are realizing the power of stories and human side of yacht racing, right? And we're having some very deep and meaningful discussions at the moment. And there's no question there's more people interested in us now than there were before the virus. It's very interesting. So all is not lost for this particular race, and the current new entrants coming in, they've got amazing stories. There's some very interesting owners, and a lot of excitement out there. Cheryl Ryson from Bundaberg's here. G'day, Cheryl. We got 2 spots left in flyer class. That's all. That's for Cheryl. And I've got a couple of your friends there as well. So. Okay, so you get to the start. You've actually started in the race now, heading down to Cape Town. What's your biggest fear?
Biggest fear is probably having something wrong with the boat that means we have to stop.
Yeah.
That I think would be the biggest concern. There's many things, challenges that you can have, many incidences that can happen that will allow you to continue in a handicap fashion, but to have to actually stop at a relatively early stage would be soul destroying. Yeah,
well, touch wood. I mean, the boats are really wholesome boats. There's a lot of redundancy, a lot of well, let's just hope that everyone's reliable. Okay, so what's the fun factor for you personally? What are you looking forward to most? In the whole exercise, getting ready to go, doing the race, finishing the race, whatever. What do you think will be the highlight?
I think, to be honest with you, Don, that the highlight will be the achievement, of the look of achievement on the crew's faces, when, as you say, touch wood, they cross over the finish line. The What I've seen for years now, being involved in sailing and other outdoor stuff, is that it is a very good way to teach people that they can do things, that they can manage it.
Yeah.
You can't defeat the weather. You can't tell
Yep.
waves to calm down.
Yeah.
You can't magic wind when there is none. So you put yourself in that position, especially with sailing, that if you sail as a true sailor, in terms of you're not just going to switch on the engine to achieve your getting somewhere, you have to do everything. You have to
Yeah.
manage the victualling, you have to manage your energy, you have to manage your water, you have
Yeah.
to manage your health. And doing that in an environment like sailing over a period of days or weeks really lets you walk away from that and say, "Do you know what? If I can do that, then the next time I have that difficult meeting, I can manage that. Or the next time I have an impossible seeming project
Yeah.
deadline,
Yeah.
I can
Absolutely.
deal with it."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that's a no-brainer. And so, if someone, if there's someone watching this and they want to join your crew, obviously the best thing for them to do is to contact you. But what are they going to need to do? They're going to need to go to Scotland. They're going to need to try and impress you. They're going to need to sign on to some voyages. They're going to have to volunteer with the maintenance. They're going to have to really, because you ain't got many spots. It's only one boat. And you want to go all the way around. What's going to impress you the most from someone that wants to really join your program?
So I think the last your last few words there, someone who really wants to join it is what the key is. This isn't We're not planning to send people around the world with the intent of giving you a spot that says you are third from the bow when we're bringing down when we're doing the head sail changes, and that's your entire position for the whole trip. We want everybody to be involved in every aspect of it, to
Yeah,
effectively immerse themselves in the whole thing. It's about the port stopovers. It's about one day you're changing a head sail, the next day you're helming in heavy winds, the next day you're trying to work out how on earth to get the boat moving because you're stuck in the doldrums. It's
yeah,
about that whole thing. And yes, there'll be over the coming month or so, next 4 to 6 weeks, on the website we'll be releasing all of the information. There's already a link to sign up to get early access to the information. And that'll include things like, we want you to contact us. We want to have a chat. We want to see how you feel, what your objectives are.
yeah,
Um, we want you to understand what we're looking at in the race, which is getting an entire team together. And that team will look at the whole aspect. So we want to see our team, all of them, sitting on the boat, writing beans on top of the
yeah,
beans tins
yeah,
and
yeah.
taking the labels off them and passing them down to someone to get stored, because that's what
It,
it's all
it's
about. It's about that whole immersion.
yeah, it's funny, we got a lot of people that have joined the interested entrants, for OGR interested entrants group on Facebook, and I get emails every week from people wanting to know, how, are you running a list of people, you're running a program. So look, we don't place entrants anywhere in the race, right? You've got to just stay involved and stay aware. But I know one thing's for sure, that some people, the difference will be, like, if I was a 25-year-old, a 30-year-old, 35-year-old, and I wanted to join a boat and do this race, I would pick the boat that I wanted first, and I'd try that boat, and I would go and live in that owner's pocket. I would keep hassling. I'd go to that country. I'd stay in that port. I'd just hang around like a bad smell. I would offer everything as a volunteer, and just be passionate about. Look, I don't care. I'll come and just look at the boat to keep the seagulls off for a month. Anything. Make yourself stand out. You've got to get there. You've got to have the ability, but you've got to show the passion. And it's not just the money. You've got to really
Yeah.
show that it's blood, sweat, and tears. You want this. And some people will say, "Oh, it's too expensive." We get, blah blah blah. They said life costs money. If you want to do something, everything I've ever done's cost money. Sometimes truckloads of money, and I've had
Yeah.
to earn it and get there and go and do it. So if you haven't got the money, you got to go and earn the money first, and then go and be a bad smell with the owner and get on. So the best advice to all the crew, if they've watched it this far, is you just got to make yourself stand out, have passion, be prepared to sacrifice to get and do it. Nothing comes easy. It's up to you. So yeah, it's a pretty cool opportunity, because you're one of the boats that is actively looking for crew, and I think there's only going to be about 3 or 4 that out of the whole fleet that are in that
Yeah.
position.
Yeah, and as you say, Don, it's not it's not about the money. And everybody will have their own strengths and their own weaknesses.
Yeah,
And yeah, I mean, it's going to cost an awful lot of money for everybody involved. For
yeah,
us, we operate the boat on a not-for-profit basis, so we're not going to be looking to, you know, profit hugely from any event that we do. If we cover the cost for the boat and we can invest, we put all the money back into the boat. We don't have shareholders to pay. We don't have directors to give dividends out to.
yeah,
So the money goes back into the boat. She's the first ever one of her class that was ever built. She needs to be looked after and maintained very well. We don't want her ending up, you know, in any port in a sorry state. So we put the money back into the boat, and people benefit from whatever they do in life. As you say, you invest in it. You invest time and money in your children. You invest time and money in your job. And this is the same scenario. What you can benefit from this in terms of
uh,
achievement and what it can do
it's
for you
life changing.
personally is
Yeah,
could be
life
immeasurable.
changing.
Yeah.
Completely. Yeah, absolutely. So, okay. So, is there anything? Yeah, I'll hit up every interview we do this. What do you want to change in the race? You know, if you could change one thing in the Ocean Globe race, what would it be? I'm not going to say you can, but I'm interested to know.
Probably not have to change my CD player in the stereo system in the boat, and bring along a
I can
nice
see,
little.
but you see, you're not accepting the fact that when you're listening to cassette tape players and the tapes break and they have to be rewound, the tension that's going to cause with the crew is palpable. You know, it's going to really create some great discussions. You know,
Yeah, it is, and I'm having to resurrect my old stereo systems and things like that. And when you talk about sponsors, Don, I think that's probably the one thing we'll have a challenge with, and that is maybe the insurmountable one is where on earth do we get a standard fit stereo cassette deck? Because I can't
yeah, yeah,
for
yeah. You
sure
have to
make
get a
them go around the
stacker. You
world
know, one
without
of the
music.
yeah. The other thing is that you'll find that the little earphones, they should be banned on the boat. We might ban them because if someone's got little earphones, it means they've probably got a little iPad in something inside their weather gear. You know, so anyone seen with little earphones, big trouble. You know. Anyway, that's cool.
Absolutely. I just see a question there. Somebody looking for the link. So our information page is just at taiping.info on the web, and that'll be flying out over the next little while.
Yeah, the number of crew. Yeah,
Number
yeah, I saw
three,
that one. Oh,
we're
hang on.
we're
Yeah, someone wanted
licensed.
to know number
We're,
of crew.
yeah, we're licensed for 15, but we normally run on trips like this with 14. Effectively there's a space kept in case a lot of our trips at the minute I jump on or there's something else needs to happen.
Yeah,
So
okay. The someone was just asking about the link. You better just give the website address. Just give us the website address.
that's just taiping.info. Don't know if I
Okay, so
can
that's
maybe
it.
type it into the chat
Hang
as
on.
well, can I?
Oh yeah, you can do that. You're jeepers, you're multitasking. I'm flat out trying to put bloody pictures up. You know. So anyway, yeah, there it is there, Taiping. So yeah, you're typing in Taiping. What's the relevance
Uh,
of the name?
so Taiping was one of the original tea clippers.
Oh yeah, of
So
course. Yeah, 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 yeah.
same as
Absolutely.
basically a sister ship to Cutty Sark, but they were obviously
Yeah,
built
I just
differently.
got
So
I just got into a lot of trapper with Tapio. He'd be really miffed that I forgot about that.
but
Tapio
the
is our resident historian. He's an amazing guy. He did the GGR. He's in adventure class. He's got Galliana and beautiful Swan 55, and we discuss everything often. And he's just a wealth of information, and he'll be shocked that I forgot about that.
well,
Anyway,
it's an interesting take because she was built as one of the original tea clippers.
yeah,
And when Sir Robin Knox Johnson commissioned these boats to take fare-paying passengers around the world in
yeah,
1996, he named them after 6 or 8 of the tea clippers,
yeah.
and Taiping was one. Now, the original Taiping tea clipper was actually built in Greenock in Scotland.
Okay,
So when we
yeah,
got Taiping and brought her back up to Scotland, she's berthed just round the corner from Greenock. We actually re-registered her back to Greenock. So this
yeah.
new boat Taiping is effectively been re-registered to the same port where the original T Clipper was built.
Yeah, yeah, that's cool. We'll be focusing a bit on the story about the clipper ships for sure, and it may be that we end up in Adelaide. We're talking to a couple of ports, but yeah, there was a lot of the ships went from Europe down to Adelaide and turned around, bringing back barley and and all sorts of stuff. So quite interesting. Okay, so I think we're nearly done. Is there anything you want to say before we sign off? Anything particular you wanted to bring up?
Well, I suppose just on the last bit you brought up there, Don, with the boat with those rather happy-looking people with a couple of trophies on board. Taiping is, as you've said, the Clipper 60s. They're very safe boats. They're very strong. They're very forgiving boats as well. That was an offshore race that we took the boat on in 2018 up to St Kilda. The average age of that crew was 65. We started over the start line in a force 10, and we won both on handicap corrected time and on line honours, which is what the two trophies are for. So we've proven time and again the boat's fantastic, no matter what age you are, as long as you're, as we say, fit enough to climb up about 6 steps, then you're fit enough to come on the boat.
Yeah. There's a question here about the orca attacks in the Atlantic, just on the Spanish coast there, coming out of the Med. Anything to protect the boat? Jeepers, I think an orca would get a headache hitting your boat. But we'll be going wide from there probably anyway. Yeah.
We're going to bring doggy snacks, and we can throw those doggy snacks over them and give them something to eat.
Fair enough.
But yeah, so I mean, Taiping's a long fin keel boat, so she doesn't have the same, let's say, level of risk of a keel injury or keel damage. And you know, of course, with a skeg hung rudder as well, we've got a little bit of extra protection there.
Yeah.
But you know, we never know the situations behind each of these attacks, and they are so random. Our general consensus is if we see wildlife, we don't want to go over and disturb it. We want to make sure we give it as wide a berth as possible, and that's the best level of protection we think you can have.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, sounds good. So, and Claudine missed the beginning. Don't worry, it's all on replay. Once we shut this down, it'll all pop up, and you can watch it all from the very beginning. And we talk about a couple of things there, which are quite fun. All right, I think that's probably about it. We don't want to take more than an hour. So just a reminder. Then next week we're going to talk to not next week, next month. A month from now, we'll talk to Sebastian. Finnish entry, got a really cool. I'll just pull you off the mast here for a minute, Glenn, and I'll put. Here we go. This is Sebastian Swan 51 there in adventure class. It's going to be quite interesting to see what speeds the various boats are going to be. We've got some Swan 46s and Baltic 46 and a few others. They're definitely going to be a little bit slower than some of our flyer class entrants, but a huge adventure nonetheless. So that's all cool. All right. Well, thanks a lot, Glenn. Appreciate and good to have a chat. We'll see you again probably in about a year on here. We'll probably every year we'll probably start cycling it. You know, we'll speed it up. It's still 3 years out, so a lot of the owners are still still getting organised, and it's a bit too far to talk about their campaigns. And interestingly, there's still a lot that want to remain confidential for various reasons, but there'll be a couple of high-profile ones popping up, we believe, in the next couple of months. So there's some good characters involved. Yeah. Okay. I'll see you later.
Brilliant.
Thanks, mate. Good luck with your launch. I hope all the crew start crawling all over you, and you fill up pretty quick with all the right people.
Yep, sounds like a good plan, Don. Hope it happens.
All right, that's great. Thanks, Glenn. See you later. Bye-bye. Okay, so that was Glenn. We missed out on Sebastian. We'll be back in a month, and you can always ask us questions anytime you want. You know, we try to get back with emails as quick as we can. We've been really busy at the moment. It's quite funny. And I forgot to mention, I'm in Les Sables d'Olonne at the moment. The Vendée Globe's happening straight behind that wall. The village is over there, and it's going to be worth watching, I can assure you. They've done an amazing job to get it up, and in the midst of the pandemic. So it's very impressive. Nothing like being in Les Sables d'Olonne. So thanks a lot, and we'll see you in about a month, I think it is. Yeah, see you then. Bye.